Today on the podcast, we have Brian Blum. He is the co-founder of Grind Basketball, the shooting machine in a duffel bag. Really cool company. This is a one-on-one conversation with Tim and Brian about how they started, how they got on Shark Tank, and so much more. The conversation originally happened on the Sports Biz Network. You can join us at the link in the description below. That was on last week. Now you're listening to the recording, but you can always jump on all of our podcasts now on the Sports Biz Network to be on live and ask questions. And then, of course, the podcast will always be here on the recording as well. We thank you for listening and hope you enjoy.
Let's do a quick background on Grind, right? So yourself and Grind, that way if people are jumping in, they don't know who you are, what you are, if they weren't at the virtual summit. Let's give a quick background, 90 seconds, and then we'll dive into more about the business aspect.
Sure. And you know, thanks for having me on, Tim. But so Grind is, we're a sports technology company. So we're focused on, right now, our first product is the world's first portable basketball shooting machine. So basketball shooting machines automatically capture makes and misses, pass them back out to players. And, traditionally they've been difficult to come by as an individual. So one of the things, we're all about here is improving accessibility to elite training resources. And this is a product we wanted to make available and convenient and, specifically designed for the modern athlete, whether that's, a parent buying it for their kid, a trainer who's using it to differentiate himself, from the rest of the market, a high school coach unsatisfied with current existing models, or, maybe it's a college kid using those new NIL rules to, get some cash in the door and get his own machine. We wanted to make this something that every individual could own and was easy for them to kind of use as they see fit.
Cool. And how did this even come about? I know you and Thomas, obviously, give us the backstory about that and his injury and how this product even came.
So Thomas and I met in, I guess it was either 2012 or 2013. I can't even remember now, but we were actually both playing basketball in Houston, Texas. Both of us dreams of making it to the next level, working our tails off to accomplish that. And we were on the same travel basketball team, the Houston Hoop Stars. It's kind of crazy, man. It was like, we were both the new kids. Everyone else on the team had returned from the previous year. And so we both showed up to that first practice, 45 minutes early, eager beaver trying to get up shots. And, that's kind of how we met. And, fast friends, fast forward a few years. And then Thomas actually, injured his knee, had 4 knee surgeries before he graduated high school. So, unfortunately cut his career short, but he was able to channel all of that into, trying to solve problems for athletes. And so that's why he started Grind back in 2015 or 16. So it's been a long time in the coming. It's been something that he worked on for a while, developing the product, iterating on it, making sure that, it was ready for some real mass market appeal. And, eventually I synced back up with him about 2 years ago, almost now. And we launched last year in March 2020.
Gotcha. And so the early stages of designing the product probably started with him writing on a piece of paper or a napkin, right?
Yeah.
Do you walk us through like some of those steps? Like, okay, I draw it. Now I contact and get like actual physical product to create a prototype. How did that whole process work?
Sure. So like you said, I mean, it starts out as, a dream, right? And then it's a sketch. And then, it's a really cool story. His buddy actually taught him how to weld. And so taught him how to weld in the garage. And so that was kind of the initial, ability to start playing around with some different materials to, start prototyping, trying to figure out if this is viable, right? I think initially the goal was to make it something that could be in a backpack. And we quickly found out, you need some more stability than that. You can't have a 50-pound shooting machine because it'll just blow over, or, a hard rebound will make it fall over. So, he had some help from U of H is where he went, University of Houston, a couple of co-founders that were engineers. And, I think just collectively they kept working, trying out new things, trying to make it a more stable product, trying to continue to keep it lightweight and easy to transport, getting that folding into the duffel bag mechanism that, you know, really does make it super easy for people to transport from place to place. All of those features, you know, it's a process. I mean, it's, you know, failing, and then just using the lessons, applying those, and, you know, really being able to, I guess, like, not stop, you know. I mean, that's the thing, is like every time that, you know, they'd run into a roadblock, it's okay, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to make it better? And that's how we kind of got to where we are today.
Gotcha. And so you said 2015, 2016-ish, he's working on it. How did he get to 2018 without, is this a side project? Did he have a job? How is he paying bills while he's working on this at the same time?
Right. I mean, it was kind of, you know, the American dream, man. I mean, just hustling, right? Like, I think, you know, he worked at Cane's. He, you know, he was running the drive-through at Cane's. He was working at the YMCA, you know, morning shift, 5 a.m. I think there was a job at a car wash somewhere in there. I mean, it was always something different as we would stay in touch, you know, and it was just really, it's crazy to see the evolution, you know, going from, you know, all of those hustles that he kind of kept pursuing to make sure that this dream stayed alive. And then now, you know, obviously we're generating a good amount of revenue now. Like, it's a viable business, and just to see that dedication, you know, it's been really cool. But I mean, he worked every job under the sun, you know, to keep the lights on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you have to, especially at that stage. And so 2018 comes and you come back. Where's the product at that time? Is it what it is today, or were you guys still iterating at that time frame?
So the product at the time was a similar version. I mean, the prototype was really starting to get viable then, but it really was more of a mid 2019 thing. We worked with a engineering design firm to, you know, really tune up a lot of the different aspects of the machine that needed to make it more visually appealing. I think originally it was something that, you know, didn't have the same aesthetic that we were going for, the branding, and but the function was there. You know, the corralling it into the net, going through the funnel, the passing mechanism, all of that was there. So, you know, it just took some time. I mean, it really, it was something that, you know, we knew after talking with customers that it was going to sell. You know, we knew that coaches were going to want it, parents were going to want it. It was just about getting that to that final version and making it, you know, viable. So we, you know, part of that is you're limited by the talent that you have on your team. Like, we brought in, you know, our head of engineering now, Elliot Martinez. He's just an absolute stud, you know, and he's got a great eye for design. He's really good with his hands, really technical, and just adding talent like that, you know, helped us get to the point where now, you know, we're selling these machines, we're manufacturing them, you know, pretty much on a weekly basis, trying to fulfill orders. And, you know, it just takes time. It really does.
And so in 2019, 2020-ish, when you said you guys were really starting to sell the product, did you guys say, okay, well, you hadn't raised any money at that point, right?
No.
Right.
No.
So you said you're going to do, like, was it like a Kickstarter or pre-order type of ordeal? Was it on Kickstarter or one of the platforms?
Initially it was, that was the plan. And then we actually just pivoted to traditional digital marketing, e-commerce strategy, you know, selling pre-orders on Shopify. So, you know, in doing that, it kind of allowed us to validate that this was something the market wanted. And, whereas Kickstarter, you know, Kickstarter's a little more fluffy. Like, it's not as much of a commitment. People are kind of just supporting you, right? Like, this was people, you know, paying for an order, expecting to get it. So stakes were a little bit higher, but, you know, it definitely helped us understand we had something, and, you know, helped us raise money. Whereas I think a Kickstarter would have been I think we still would have been able to raise some capital last fall, and then this spring, but, you know, I think the approach we did, it was a little riskier, but it definitely helped tell the story better to investors.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that the strategy of, like, saying, because most people, when a product like yours, which might be a little bit higher end in the cost, to do a Kickstarter makes a lot of sense. And that would be, a first step to them, because you can buy t-shirts. Like you said, you can fluff it up and people can support, and that just helps you generate revenue, right? But to go straight to Shopify after that, to make it a pre-order, you're right. The stakes are higher. It's like, we actually ordered this. Where's my product? Did you guys say, hey, we know in 2 months, 8 months, we're going to actually have a product? Or how did you guys message that?
Yeah. I mean, we told customers that, to expect it that winter, because that was just what we understood the manufacturing timeline to be. And don't get me wrong. I mean, that's been a challenge, right? Is in any sort of pre-order phase, people, if you're fortunate enough to have demand for a product, then, people are going to want it soon, right? Especially if they're shelling out a good amount of cash. So, we communicated that it would be there on the timeline we presented, and some people that worked for, some people it didn't. We're really grateful for the people it did work for. We've been doing this batch thing now since last March, and March 2020, and it's been super effective. I think customers like to have almost that exclusivity, like I got in on batch 1, or I got in on batch 2, or I got in on batch 3. And as we kind of continue to grow, it's something that we're pretty conscious of, is, how we're going to approach manufacturing.
Yeah. And how much did you guys raise on your first pre-order, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So, we raised, we raised like mid 6 figures. I'll just, leave it there. To date, that's where we're at, is just probably, in the mid 6 figures range. Thinking about raising a little more, but it's always, delicate, right? Like managing investing versus cash flow, and, how much do you want to give up? Do we need to give up? Right. So, but that capital in the fall, definitely helped us to get to where we are right now.
And your pre-orders, how did you get all that? Was it all your network? Was it Facebook ads, Instagram ads? How did you bring those people in to do the pre-orders?
Yeah, sure. So we work with some influencers, some coaches in the area, some tournament operators. It was very grassroots to start, and then we did do a bunch of Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns. Those have been super successful. I think it's a product that really resonates with the basketball audience. I think a lot of people see it and they're like, dang, like I wish I had that when I was younger. Or, what if I could get this for my daughter or my son or my grandkid, right? Like, it's a really cool product to potentially gift a young athlete. So, we've seen a really strong response from Facebook and Instagram. We're getting into TikTok now. Email has been a good channel for us as well. People are super interested in, following along the story and kind of understanding, like, as we continue to grow and build, like what we're going to be doing next, and like, what is the next product these guys are releasing, what are they doing now? Because content has been a really big side for us, and I think we really invest in like storytelling and visually showing people the product in action, rather than just marketing jargon and different stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I would imagine, did you guys hire someone, or did you or Thomas have experience in like Facebook ads, or did you guys hire an agency?
Just self-taught. I run them. Just kind of had to figure it out.
You had never ran a Facebook ad campaign before that?
I had experience working with an agency. So I had worked with an agency for previous businesses, and, I've always been very familiar. I've been running e-commerce stores since, I graduated college in 2018. Okay. So I knew what to do. I hadn't executed much, but, I think there's no better way to learn than actually having some skin in the game, and so spending our money, being conscious of our budget and all of that was super valuable, and definitely shaped like, the approach. Like I wasn't going to just throw 10K at something that, I didn't know it was going to work, because we're not getting that money back. Yeah. So, that it was all self-taught, and thankfully it's paid off pretty well.
Yeah. How long did it take you to, start to increase your budget from like $100 to, higher once you hit that learning curve?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it honestly, it didn't take too long. I like to think that I was more lucky than anything, just because, we have such a great product, and that's a testament to Thomas and the engineering team. That has nothing to do with the marketing sales side. So, they make my life super easy. All I got to do is sell the thing, like they made the machine. Right. So, no, it took a little bit of time. I'd say we scaled up pretty substantially now, where we're super comfortable at, all of our different budgets and where to put money in. And, I think we've got a pretty well-oiled machine at this point.
Cool. That's awesome. And let's shift gears, talk about a little bit of Shark Tank action, because people love to talk about Shark Tank, as I'm sure you know. Yeah. Talk about so I know the backstory, but how did you guys get into Shark Tank, or how did you apply in that process? But I really want to find out, when the filming stopped that day, what happens? Because there's a thorough background check, and I'm sure they looked into your books and everything, the product or whatnot. Walk us through that process, as well as like how you guys got on.
Right. Well, just to start from the beginning. So Thomas's fiance, Amory, she sent in an application, not really knowing what was going to happen. It was COVID, April 2020. So who knows if they're even going to film, but, they ended up letting us know we had gotten selected, and, eventually filmed the episode, got the deal with, on TV with Mark and Barbara. So, it's just been a cool experience. Shark Tank is super mainstream. I think it's a really easy way to explain your company, is to show them the clip of Shark Tank. So, there's a due diligence period that you go through, just like you would with any investor. It's actually honestly, it's a very similar process to just, working with any sort of traditional VC or, angel investor fund or whatever it may be. They perform due diligence. They ask all the same questions, all that stuff. So it was cool though. And
so when it finally goes through, the deal, that is, how long from the time of the deal till it aired? What was the time frame on that?
So we filmed in the fall, and then it aired on May 7th. So it was quite some time.
Yeah.
We were kind of waiting to hear back.
But did you have the deal done officially by
we're not allowed to really speak on it, but gotcha. Just NDAs and contract stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Those
okay. So it was done sometime in between there from Shark Tank. Gotcha. Okay. And so May 7th or whatever it airs, what are now the floodgates open? Do you have access to Mark Cuban and his resources, to Barbara and her resources? Are you on the phone with them all the time? Are they, is it, I would imagine it changed quite a bit, even just putting Mark Cuban, let alone anyone else's name on it, being because it's basketball specific.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's been cool, man. I mean, we've definitely seen an uptick in traffic and sales and just kind of authority, right? Like in general, like people, you don't look at us and you're like, what the hell is this company, right? Like you can, find plenty of information about us. We're out there. So it's been a huge boost for sure.
It's interesting too, like the Shark Tank brand in itself. And I don't know if they meant to do this or when they notice this happen, but it is kind of like a stamp of approval. I see all the time, like the Cousins lobster truck everywhere, yeah. Right? And just Shark Tank all over it, because it's kind of like a stamp of approval, right?
Yeah, 100%. No, it's cool, man. I mean, it's such a good talking point. We're going through Techstars Sports Accelerator right now. We're actually rocking the shirt.
Hey, there you go.
We did this really cool process where we just connected with a bunch of different people in the Techstars network. And, it's always a fun conversation topic, and everyone wants to ask, how was the experience? Like, what was it like? And, it's been awesome. It's been really cool. And hopefully
Techstars all virtual.
We've been in person. It's in Indy. So, Indianapolis. So I spent some time there. Thomas spent some time there, and, it's been amazing to just get to see the city of Indianapolis, especially, thank goodness, like things are opening up a little more. So we get to explore a little bit, been playing ball at the Y. So, we're about to pull up with a grind machine in August here. Nice. Show them what's up. But, yeah, no, it's been cool. And so, they introduce you to a bunch of people. Some of them are in person. Some of them are over Zoom or whatever. So, it's cool to have those resources and be able to talk to anyone no matter where they are.
Yeah, no, that's great. Building the network from that angle. What's your guys' strategy moving forward? You mentioned NIL with influencers, athletes, now college athletes. I guess that includes high school athletes as well. What's the strategy around that?
Yeah, I think, we're really interested in just trying to explore that, right? I mean, the creator economy it's obviously something that is, front and center right now. I think that's what a lot of people are trying to base their businesses off of. And, a lot of our mission is like, we want to empower kids to have, their own resources and the ability to, work on their game, no matter if they're locked out of the high school gym and they don't have access to that shooting machine, or if they can't afford a traditional one or whatever. And so part of that mission, I think, spills over into these athletes, and helping them monetize their own likeness. And if it's something that can work out where, they're able to promote the grind machine and we're able to, compensate them on a, sale by sale basis, then could be something that's really cool. We haven't figured it out quite yet. I think we're waiting for a little of the dust to settle. A lot of people, tumbled right in right now, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on with compliance.
Totally.
So we're taking it one step at a time, and we'll be working with some athletes in college for sure.
I think you're right there. I think 99% of organizations are like, even schools are like, we're just going to take a step back and kind of wait to see the dust settle. And then you have like the 1% of people who announced it on July 1st at, the big splashes or whatever, legal or illegal, whatever it was. It happened that day. So that's interesting. And then, so moving forward to, you alluded to this earlier, is like, this is your phase one products and looking at other opportunities. What are those other opportunities, if you can share? Are they more hardware? Are there software? Is it integrated? What does that look like for you guys? And what's a timetable on that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely trying to introduce some software components. As far as features, I'll hold off on that until we're dropping it. But it's going to be a really cool experience for kids. Thomas and I were these kids, right? Our whole lives. Like, we're designing stuff that, we know us and our friends would have loved back in the day. Also trying to, keep pace with, kids, their preferences are changing more quickly than ever before these days, right? Every year there's something new. There's some game breaking technology, and that's kind of the expectation. So, being conscious of that, but, some sort of enhancement to using the machine is definitely on the horizon. And then, just continuing to improve the products and, trying to make it the best experience possible for kids. That's really all we care about, is making this something that is just a really, it's a game-changing addition to any kid's life, or a trainer or whoever it is, like whatever that customer looks like, we want this to be something that they look forward to using. Who doesn't love shooting hoops, right? And, we're here to make that process even better. So that's kind of what we've got planned for the future.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I think when you say trainer too, like what comes to mind is like how you can set everything almost like a tonal type of thing, right? Where you can have like a bunch of different bands and whatnot, and it's kind of included in your package deal as you go along. But I think that because there is no script, right, for what you're doing, there's stuff you can look at. You can look at your Pelotons of the world who has a hardware integrated, and now they have, even apparel line, right? Do you guys see those? Do you kind of pick and pull of ones that you think could potentially be fits and go with that? Or are you guys just staying in your lane saying, we have a pretty good idea of what we're doing?
I think for right now, we're super focused on, basketball. We've seen a lot of products come through in the basketball space, and it's really hard because, like, to infiltrate that experience of just shooting hoops in the park is difficult. And we're like, there's a lot of distractions when you're building a business. Like, everyone's going to pull you every different direction and tell you, I think you could do this, I think you could do that. And it's like, execution is really what we're more focused on, and growing this brand, making sure that all of our customers, existing customers, are just thrilled with the product. And kind of maintaining that core focus is our top of mind right now, just before we kind of get into other stuff. It's kind of like you got to conquer something first and really beat that level before you can go to the next one. And we don't feel like we're quite there yet.
Yeah, makes sense. And let us know. I know we got about 30 minutes here, so we're wrapping up, but let us know if anything we could help with. I know you said Parks and Recs. We've got connects to Parks and Recs. If that's your route, or high schools or colleges, athletes, media, let us know, man. Hit us up. Use us as resources too. We're happy to help.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate just, all the love. When Thomas and I were on that panel, it was dope to connect with them, those people. So it's been awesome. We're excited to keep working with y'all.
Cool. Appreciate it, Brian. Appreciate the time, man.
Absolutely. Take care.